change it up once again now within the next hour, devoted to companies in the content and consumer space. Up first, we have a global tech startup that inspires people to explore the world's culture and creativity through innovative technology and a global network of local content creators. Sharing the story, please welcome Culture Trip CEO, Dr. Chris Nodes. Dr. Chris.
Hi, good morning everybody. My name is Chris. I'm the founder of Culture Trip. Now we're a startup actually operating in the travel, local and entertainment space. And we really try to use technology and creativity to inspire and enable our users to explore culture around the world. Our vision is really to bring the world to everybody, and we strongly believe that in doing so, we will bring people closer together. When I say technology, I'm referring to AI, which we use to power our search and recommendation. I'm also talking about tools we're developing to help creatives focus their creativity, if you like. When I talk about creativity, I'm referring to the about now 80,000 articles, videos, photos, animation and illustration that we publish on our site and in our app. Now we've been doing that with a high degree of success, in the sense that in the past year or so, we went from around 3-4 million monthly uniques to now about 20 million. Our app's been downloaded about 1 million times now, so I also recommend you to do it. You can use it here in Hong Kong. We had tremendous social growth in the sense that we now have about 6 million followers across our platforms, and the most exponential growth we've seen in video, where we gathered about 2 billion views on our videos in the past year. So what's the story behind this? Essentially, I founded it in 2011. I'm by background a medical doctor, a psychiatrist, did my PhD in genetics, and was really immersed in academia, had an academic career at one of the universities in London. Enjoyed that greatly, was pretty good at it. Also ran a private hospital towards the end, but ultimately psychiatry, to me at least, felt like I was fixing things, fixing people, which is very important, but I really felt this urge to build something and create a company, which many in my family have done successfully. So ultimately I took that direction as well. The first 4 years though were actually absolutely horrendous. I have no other word for it. We had no money. The idea sounded not attractive to pretty much all of the investors I spoke to. But for every 10 or 20 I spoke to, there was always one who I could just about convince to put a little bit of money in. And when I say a little bit of money, I'm talking here about $20,000, $30,000, so really, really, really small amounts. And every 2 to 3 months, of course, consequently, we would run out of money. So this was 4 years of bootstrapping in the true sense of the word. We had a very small office in one of the rougher parts of London, which was about 2 meters by 3, which we shared with about 10 people. So if you opened your arms, you did actually hurt each other. Towards the end, we couldn't even afford that anymore, and we started working from hotel lobbies. Till also we were kicked out of those because we couldn't afford the coffee. So this was a bit of startup heroics, I think, for a few years. Towards the very end of those 4 years, there was 1 week of cash left. I did one desperate attempt to email all the VCs that I had been harassing for a few years in Silicon Valley. One said, "Why don't you come and see me? You've been bothering me for long enough now. Maybe I should hear your pitch." I went out there with that last bit of money, pitched, guy liked it, put in 2 million, and the rest you can read on the slide pretty much. With the 2 million, we managed to open an office in Tel Aviv, set up an engineering team, and it all became real and proper from then on. My kids were happy, my family became happier. 9 months later, of course, we would again run out of cash, but we had at least by then proper proof of concept. We had really maxed out the content creation model and the economics, had really good traction, about 1 million monthly uniques. And suddenly we had choice. We could pick our investors, which was a situation that we had never had. So we had strong interest in the UK, but because they gave us such short shrift in the early years, we weren't too inclined to go there. So we pitched in Israel and in the US again. We're well on our way actually to secure money there, about 8 or 10 million, but then a fund in Europe came to the fore called PPF, based out of Holland and Czech Republic. And they were talking much bigger amounts of money. We hit it off as well personally, which is very important for anybody in the audience who's doing their own startup, that there is that founder synergy, I suppose, or synergy with the fund, if you can have it. Sometimes you don't have the choice, but if you have it, it's really important to look at that, because you're going to be with any investor for probably quite a while. So I felt that synergy with the fund, so I went forward. We bought out the early angel investors. They had a return of about 30 or 50x, so they were very happy. I was very happy to, in all fairness, get rid of some of them, because misaligned investors is not easy, and I can definitely testify to that. Anyways, we're in bed now with PPF. Things have been really good because the growth was so tremendous in that first year we've been working together. We started talking about the further rounds. Took a while to negotiate because the deal was big, and a couple of months ago we raised 80 million US dollar, which makes us now, or puts us in a position that shows to the market that we're probably here to stay. It inspires a lot of confidence also in ourselves and our leadership team. And we went on a hiring spree. So in the past year and just over a year, we went from about 12 people, which was the size of our team, to now around 230 people in 3 offices, London, New York, and Tel Aviv. And we scaled our contributor base to around 350 around the world. So as said, now we have resource. Now we can actually afford the talent we need to really make an impact in this space, because as you all know, travel, very competitive space, locals, very competitive space, entertainment, super competitive, not overly monetizable in a lucrative way. So it's tough, but we've got the resource, we believe we have the vision, and now people start streaming in. I hired almost my entire C-suite out of Silicon Valley, despite being based in London, so we moved them all over. The rationale being that I wanted some of that, what we like to call internally, reckless ambition from Silicon Valley, and bring that to London, where there haven't been many global consumer internet successes, or in Europe in general. There's Spotify, there's Skype, there isn't that much. So we went to get people out of Facebook, out of Google, to help bring that ambition and zeal and knowledge as well into the company. And yeah, so far so good. Very different times, lots of brain power, which again I think is a competitive advantage, especially in the entertainment space, which is not historically overly dense in technology or technological minds. My own background gradually actually I start to realize was a strength, because you have, if you need to, the people skills that psychiatry taught me, but also I have the scientific background to deal with the engineering and data science side of things. So I said, we've got that in place now. I only picked 5, I could have put 15 there. We're not all men, rest assured. I mean, in fact, I think more than half of our team is female, but somehow these 5 made it on the slide. As I said, we're now in 3 cities, got a global contributor or creator base of around 350 people. We've published already about 80,000 pieces of content. The rate is about 2,500, 3,000 a month. What are we going to do with the money? We're going to invest very heavily into technology. Our workforce will probably go up to around 500 people in the next year or so, and the idea really is that we arrive at a ratio of about 1 in 4, as in 1 technology or tech-related employee to 3 non-tech-related employees, so really change the DNA of the company to resemble a tech company. When I say resemble a tech company, I mean a tech company in the mold of Spotify, Uber, Airbnb, so a tool-based product, if you like. And we're also going to, of course, scale up the contributor community. Our ambitions are that that could go up to around 1,000 again in the next year. We're experimenting with monetization models. So with this kind of user base, you can, of course, advertise, which we have done via sponsored content. But what we're really excited about is taking a leaf out of another industry's book, and we will enable our users to actually book experiences with us, book hotels, and actually transact. Why are we doing that? Not because it sounds good, but because we have the data that shows that there is that intent amongst our users. We've done a few listicles on Airbnb apartments, for example, And really, 1 in 2 of our users who read these articles click through to the Airbnb website. And about 1 in 6, I think, makes an actual booking. So the data look promising. We sit at the top of the funnel, the inspiration part, and we really want to gradually start driving people down the funnel. So actually the reverse of what Airbnb is trying to do, the reverse of what Expedia and Booking.com are trying to do. They sit at the tip of the funnel, which is very crowded, and try to go up. We really sit at the top, and we try to go down. And we're very uniquely positioned, we feel, to do that. We've hired also the managing director from Expedia to help us with these efforts. We're hiring some senior folks out of Airbnb. Because at that top part of the funnel, again, there's many players, but they're all niche. Nobody is doing this on a global, big, aggressive, methodical scale. If you look at Time Out or Lonely Planet, brands that have been around for a long time, and for that reason are also probably profoundly struggling, already in terms of monthly users, we're beyond these guys. So we really start to look at, okay, this is a space we can dominate, and we believe we will. Finally, before I leave the stage, I mean, we're also looking at China. We're going to apply for a license to operate on the mainland, and we're also considering potentially setting up in Hong Kong, which is at least one of the reasons that I came here. So thank you very much for hearing me out on Culture Trip's story. I hope and I think we're here to stay, and I invite you again all to check out the website, culturetrip.com, or download the app in the respective stores. Thank you very much.